Frontline Records Rewind. Frontline Records Rewind. Frontline Records Rewind.
Hi, this is Les Carlsen.
And we're Crumbacher. This is part 2 of
Frontline Records Rewind. Favorite songs? You've done a lot of songs, but what are the ones that you say, you know, that's kind of our, those are the songs that everybody really liked. We all are in agreement that these were our more popular.
To me, if I have to say a song that is Crumbacher, I would say Glowing in the Dark. That to me was our first song that
Incandescent.
that captured the sound that I hoped we could get. Because there was something I was looking for. I didn't know exactly how we needed to get to it, but when we did Glowing in the Dark, that's when it kind of started to become Crumbacher, the Crumbacher sound.
And do you remember what you were doing, where you were at, and all that kind of stuff when you came up with that?
I didn't really even know it was going to be that. I just knew I knew what I wanted the song to sound like in my head, and we learned it. And first few times we did it, we bombed with it. Actually, it was really bad.
A lot of vocals.
It was really complicated, and we almost stopped doing it. But we just kept at it. Like we said, we rehearsed it. We couldn't get it right. We kept rehearsing, and eventually it did. It clicked, and it was like, that's our sound right there. And so for me, that was the first one that it's like, if I wanted to tell people back then, you know, what's your sound, that would have been my go-to song.
So here it is. Let's hear it.
All right.
Glowing in the Dark, Crumbacher.
Lights out, power line down. There's panic in the city and it makes me wonder. Stranded at the edge of town. As a distant storm approaches, I can hear the thunder. But through it all, love inside me, such a fine thing to know. Oh, oh, so good to know. So good to know. It keeps me glowing in the dark.
I'm glowing in the dark.
Keeps me glowing in the dark.
I'm glowing in the dark.
Throughout the night, dead and cold, I've illuminating power in an incandescent soul that keeps me glowing in the dark. Glowing in the dark. I started out with just a spark, now I'm glowing in the dark.
Shadows dance on the wall by the fading phosphorescence of our inspiration. Wait for the hammer to fall while we close our eyes and hope it's our imagination.
So how did you meet Frontline? When did that happen? I mean, how did it happen, basically?
That was, I mean, kind of back to Jim's story of when he used to watch the concerts on TV in the Philippines. I remember when I was about 12 years old, I used to watch them on TV when I could find them. And they were always on really late at night or when no one else was awake. And I remember seeing Jimmy Kempner on there hosting them. And I just said to myself as a 12-year-old, I need to get to know this guy here because he seems plugged in with the youth culture, you know, because I didn't know much more than that. I was raised in a pretty conservative church atmosphere, so that was pretty radical for me, these Calvary Chapel concerts. But I saw him doing them. I thought, I have to get to know this guy because he's the one that can kind of get me, help me, to show me where to, you know, what I need to do. And so I didn't realize he was associated with Maranatha in any way, or with Ministry Resource Center. I just knew he did the concerts. He was the guy that did the concerts on TV. And so that just kind of happened. And for our first and really our only video for the song Jamie, he was also instrumental in that. I hadn't even met him yet. And he had been listening to our stuff and he liked the song Jamie and said, let's do a video on this here. And
he has a daughter named Jamie.
Oh, he that's right. And so, I mean, it was interesting the way it all happened. So we were on Broken for about, it wasn't very long. Broken opened and folded, I think, in the same year. It was
Broken did?
It was crazy.
It was
I mean, the records came out, and then it wasn't real long after that, less than a year, I'd say, when they decided to sell Broken. And so all of us, Undercover, the Choir, Crumbacher, and Altar Boys, there were 4 of us on there. Suddenly, none of us had a label. And it was just, I mean, it was really heartbreaking too, because we finally had our first record out and it was doing really well. And then suddenly the label was gone. So that's when Jimmy formed Frontline. A couple different people in Southern California kind of formed their own labels to kind of pick up that, fill in that need of the alternative thing. And Jimmy was one of the first to do it because he was more connected with the artists. And I didn't really even think about it so much as, well, I had to follow my instinct from my 12-year-old self that said, well, get to know him and see what he can do for you, you know. And I mean, for us, I mean, I think it was the right place for us to be at the right time.
So who approached you first?
From
Frontline?
Remember, it was probably Jimmy at the time. I think when the Broken bands were kind of wondering what to do, I think he reached out to pretty much all of them to let them know he was going to be starting something up. I do believe, and this may not be true, you can correct me if I'm wrong, okay. I may have been the first artist to sign on Frontline. I was one of the first. You were the first ones to have an album out on Frontline, but I do remember I signed my contract in his backyard, Jimmy's backyard. It's patio furniture. And there wasn't a label yet even. It was there wasn't even distribution yet.
There was a hot tub.
That was it. You know, it was like, we're calling us a record label and you want to be on it. And okay, you know. And it was us and the Altar Boys were kind of around at the beginning. They may have been the first to sign, I don't know, but it was we were there at the very beginning of it. And then you guys were also there. That may have happened that way.
I think we were one of the first releases on Frontline.
Mm-hmm.
So
you saw it from pretty much the beginning there, and it was just kind of a surreal experience for me to get to do that. I remember when we were planning our first album for Frontline, looking for studios. I think I was at Jimmy's house and Terry Taylor was there.
Yeah.
And I was a huge Daniel Amos fan. And I still am, but at the time that was who I wanted to be like. You know? And he was there, and Jimmy's like, well, why don't you two go and check out these studios and you tell me. And so I'm driving Terry Taylor around in my car,
Checking out studios. Gee.
thinking, what are all the things I've been wanting to ask him?
I know. You get.
Come on,
you can't.
come on, you know?
I know.
And it's just, I mean, things like that just happens. It's such a fast progression for me. I just couldn't really take it all in.
Where was your first Frontline record recorded?
It was a little studio called Sound Affair in Santa Ana. And I remember they predominantly did Korean records there. That was their
North
number
or
one.
south?
That was their number one clientele. They did all these
It's
records.
kind of a current thing.
And Christian records, of course.
Okay.
But I just thought it was interesting. It's like I didn't know the recording studios were just around like that, And it was in like a little warehouse area, and we tracked it all in this little studio, and then we mixed it at Whitefield Studios, which again is one of those legendary things that anyone in the early days, you could read the credits on the albums, recorded and mixed at Whitefield Studios. So in my head, that was like, I'd made it, to get to walk into this place.
Who produced it and who engineered? Do you remember?
That was Joe Taylor's production on
Okay.
Incandescent, the very first one for Broken Records.
Thanks, Joe.
Yes, and I have to say, I didn't know what a producer did for albums. Some do more than others. He fit perfectly because he was able to guide us without forcing us into any particular direction.
Yeah.
When we came in with all of our vocals we wanted to do, he didn't make us not do it. He was kind of like, "Are you sure?" But like, if you're going to do that, okay, let's do this. Let's try it like this then, and let's make it work for you. So he was.
Because he ultimately used those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing. He
ultimately
got
did
behind it. It wasn't what he was expecting to do.
Well, he was speechless.
Well,
Jimmy, bring it up.
One of my favorite songs was "Speechless."
Well, that's hard to talk about.
Let's not.
Well, I'm speechless.
Yeah, that song for me, I didn't enjoy playing it so much because it was hard for me to play. It was different. It was something different than the usual that we had rhythmically, or what I was doing as a drummer. But just the concept that was behind Speechless, and what I found as a traveling band being on the road, there were more times that were quiet than that were spent on stage, obviously. So there was a lot of downtime and a lot of time to reflect, and Speechless to me just is a reflective song, and it just says more with less than a lot of songs do. So it was just a song I really loved, and it's got some beautiful harmonies that represents who we were as a band, who we are. And that was one of our main elements in recording that we were talking about earlier, when Joey heard what we were trying to do and what we actually did, and then what we did in concert with harmonies and sound. It turned out great. So I kind of love that song, Speechless.
Wow, Jimmy. Awesome.
Here for you is Speechless by Crumbacher.
Yeah, that was Jimmy.
Ooh, hey, na na.
I'm speechless.
Ooh, hey, na na.
Lord, I'm speechless over you.
Ooh, hey, na na.
I'm speechless.
Ooh, hey, na na.
I'm speechless over you.
When I hear your name, my face lights up and glows.
Les, did you know that with each Frontline Rewind episode, we have a specially curated Spotify playlist?
I did not know that. I'm on my way. I mean, the fact that you were missionary kids, that had major impact on who you are in your life, and
Still to this
bringing
day,
that
yes,
into
it does.
Yeah.
It's a nice legacy. I think sometimes we struggle with a lot of things because we're third culture kids and we're not really Americans. And as we get older, there's a lot of things
Yeah.
we deal with.
You're more of a world citizen.
We are.
I
And
see.
so, but getting into the band situation, we had been traveling our entire lives. So vans,
Yeah, that was nothing
little
for you
cars
guys.
with things all over them. I mean,
Hardship. Bring it on.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
This wasn't. It could have been seen as an adventure, but for us, it just was a continuation
It
of
really
what we
was,
were
huh?
already familiar with.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
because
were
being in a band that travels, and it's kind of like being on the mission
And
field.
we-
isn't it?
It's
exactly.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is, and we didn't have it. No matter what we traveled in, we always had a
It
few
was
issues.
always difficult. Yeah,
Yes.
it was never
Come
easy.
on, let's hear some issue stuff. Come
Well,
on.
we were pretty much known as the band who missed their set at festivals
Did
here
we?
in the,
Oh, I don't know.
do you remember? Well,
we
our
missed-
bus.
We missed. I do remember
We
one.
missed Ichthus, right?
Yeah.
And they had to put us back on.
That's a pretty big festival.
But they put us back on.
But
They did.
They
They
did.
rescheduled for
And
us.
I don't think missing just as we usually left enough time
yeah.
for the
Yeah,
breakdowns.
it was just there were
or-
so
Oh,
many
that was
breakdowns.
scheduled into the
We
tour.
did. We always scheduled in time.
So yeah, but they're
Breakdown.
like, there comes Crumbacher in their little bus. Okay.
So-
And we had a van first, but you know what? By the time we had our bigger bus, we were good.
Yeah.
We had Jim.
You made more gigs. That way
Jim
with
worked on the
bus.
bus, kind of kept it going with van. Steve did too. I mean, you guys.
It always seemed to be that way with a lot of the Christian bands that you had
Yeah.
to be
You had to have
you
all
know,
the trades.
singers and players,
Yeah, you
and
did.
you also mechanics, and
Drivers.
you know you had to also be tour managers and
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's got grease under your fingernails going on stage half the time.
yeah, which is really I think better than the secular bands because it was too much. You know, they were too well cared
I
for.
would have liked to have tried it that way.
Yeah, we wouldn't have minded
Just
maybe.
one tour. But,
Yeah,
you know, we made it work
yeah,
our way, I guess. So.
you sure did. You guys had a lot of. I mean, it was really upbeat and a lot of fun. I saw this one YouTube video of you guys telling the story about when you heard one of your first
Oh, that. Yeah.
records, and it was.
that was
I thought, wow,
Incandescent.
how cute! You know, that's so cute, man. I just love that. And look, they're sincerely fired up, and you were.
Yeah.
What'd you have for dinner that night?
I don't know, but it was
Because you
at
said you
Denny's,
went into a
wasn't it?
restaurant.
I
You
think
don't
it was at
remember
Denny's.
that.
Oh, yeah, it was Denny's.
Was it
Don't
like
remember
fish and
dinner.
chips? Okay.
It was Denny's and San Juan Capistrano.
That
that's
wasn't
all I
memorable,
remember.
but it was really cool to see you guys.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The first time that you hear yourself on the radio.
It's fun. Well, and I've heard several bands tell their same story, and it's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we turned all the radios on in the car and ran around the car screaming. It's like, well, we did that.
Isn't that what
I
we
remember
want?
that. That's
I
what you
mean,
do.
we wanted to hear our songs on
Yeah.
the radio, and there it
Yeah.
is.
It's fun. For some reason, I don't know, that makes it real. To finally hear it on the radio. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's when it
it's
became real, I
validation.
think. I
Yeah.
guess it's like
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
is playing this and they don't have to.
Yeah, that's like notarizing, you know.
Yeah.
In the world of business, you've actually been notarized. You're on the radio, you know. Yeah, awesome. So, and I'm curious about this title, "Reckless Boys and Bad Bad Girls." For
That
the
one was actually a lot of fun. That one we can't sing because that's 3 of Dawn on that song.
Oh,
I came
well,
in.
I think Jimmy can handle one of the high parts.
That one, I had this concept. I wanted Dawn to sound like the Andrews Sisters or one of those groups where you have the blonde brunette and the redhead
Uh-huh.
singing around the microphone, you know,
Uh-huh.
in USO outfits. And
So did it have a swing feel?
it
to
did. It had
Oh,
a
wow.
very swing.
It's a lot of fun
and
to
I
play.
really wanted to do something where her vocal was like the one you were.
So how did you
listening
do
to.
that live?
That was when her sister Beth actually joined us
yeah.
on stage for a few shows, and it was a 3-part harmony. They were able to do 2 parts,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we pulled it off live.
She sang
And it
with
was
us.
a lot of fun to do live. It was a very hard song, though. But I remember in the studio trying to explain it to you what I wanted. I'm like, you're chewing gum and you're just like, you don't care if anyone's listening. You're just singing. And your mom was in the studio when we recorded that. She actually helped me with that.
Oh, she did.
To communicating it to you. You know, it's like, no, do it like this.
I could probably do Grease, but Olivia, but I don't know about Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't totally familiar with what I was asking for, but your mom was kind of like,
she knew.
Yeah, she got the concept, so she was like, she was there kind of helping you along with those. So that was a lot of fun though.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's one of my favorite songs off of it, actually, just because of the.
Yeah, so let's hear that song.
All right.
Okay, Dawn,
Yes.
could you bring it on? Let's give the title.
We're going to hear Reckless Boys and Bad Bad Girls from Tame the Volcano.
Anthony works the corner of Hollywood and Vine all day. People stop and stare, but he don't mind.
Sarah's down at Sunset, passing that time away. There's a few good men are still so hard to find.
Take a look behind that tough exterior that you see. You'll find no one not that different from the likes of you and me. They're reckless boys and bad, bad girls, with looks that kill from heartbreak, still the hurting. Just normal kids from bad, bad worlds. Oh, when the strike that goes, everyone knows they're reckless boys and bad, bad girls. Jerry's out on the playground, knowing what's in store. A deal is made, then it quietly slips away.
Amber's at a locker, hide behind the door. With goodness hold more than suit today.
Take a look behind that tough exterior that you see. You'll find they're really not that different from the likes of you and me. They're reckless boys and bad, bad girls, with looks that kill from heartbreak, still the hurting. Just normal kids from bad, bad worlds. But when the strike that goes, everyone knows they're reckless boys and bad, bad girls. Oh, now Eric reads his Bible to surfers on the pier, talking to each lonely passerby. Oh.
Lola prays in homeroom, teacher better off not to hear. She knows it's wrong, but can't understand why.
Oh, take a look beyond that cold exterior that you see. You'll find they're really not that different from the likes of you and me. They're reckless boys and bad, bad girls, with love that kills the heartbreak, chills for certain. Just normal kids in bad, bad worlds. But everyone knows that Jesus draws those reckless boys and bad, bad girls. Boys and bad, bad girls, with a love that kills the heartbreak, chills for certain. Just normal kids in bad, bad worlds.
Hey, Adele, how do people hear the music featured on the Rewind shows?
Well, a lot of people like to stream music these days on Apple Music, Spotify, and other digital music stores. And of course, downloads are available on iTunes and Amazon. And if you're a hardcore classic music appreciator, some physical CDs can be purchased on Amazon and our own website, frontlinerecords.us.
Wow, very informative.
Well, thank you.
So I noticed that you guys at a young age had some blonde streaks in your hair.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
We have streaks in our hair now,
Were you-
but
Completely natural.
Were you frightened? Or it just happened? Were you struck by lightning? Or
We worked hard on that hair.
we did. Boy, we all had to have it in a different place, I think.
Goodness.
well, there's only so much room on the stage.
And everybody around us was doing it too.
Oh my gosh. It was the 80s. It was
Yeah.
kind of like, what is it that no one else has done? Okay, let's go ahead and do it then. It was a fun time
It was.
to
I
be in
even
pop
found
music because
It was.
style-wise, it was, you could kind of just go crazy.
When
and have
people
fun.
actually thought about how they looked and they kind of had fun with it and everything.
Yeah.
I liked the 80s. It was great.
Yeah.
And then we had grunge. It's like, oh, wow.
I know this
Okay,
is
one extreme to
just
the
down,
other.
yeah.
But, grunge is
the
easier.
clothes were
right?
so fun. Man, the clothes
Oh yeah,
for Incandescent.
those.
that was
all of
fun.
them.
Who did
Good
your
times.
outfits for you guys? Who was in
We
charge
did
of that?
We did our own. In fact, my mom used to make a lot of mine.
Oh yeah,
Um,
she did.
She
Those were
she
epic
made the
jackets.
patterns. I'd show her what I wanted, or something on MTV, like that guy there, what he's wearing,
Yeah.
something like that. And so yeah, she designed a lot of my stuff that I wore. But yeah, we would. Oh, I don't know. We'd find things in
We
the
just
craziest
put it
places.
together.
Yeah, we did.
and
We just
we'd
kind of put it together. And
find different things. We wouldn't buy full outfits anywhere. In fact, the cover of Incandescent,
Jim,
I don't.
I wish you
Was
could see
that
Jimmy's
your-
face right
Yeah.
now.
were those my
Which
things?
clothes were yours and
Some of
which
those
ones
were
were mine?
mine that he wore.
that's
Well, no,
true.
no,
Sometimes
those-
the guys
You're wearing Dawn's
would wear
outfit?
some of
No,
Dawn's
that's
things.
mine.
And
I
it was
forgot about
it was
that.
always last minute, I think, for us. I know you were telling your mom to make your jackets, but the rest of us are like, we have a photo shoot. We better go look around.
Well, that was one of our huge pastimes, being on the road so much, is finding clothes, and then with the little bit of money that we made, actually being able to buy those clothes.
Yeah.
So it was always an adventure finding clothes.
you know,
And
some-
half the time I was wearing girls' clothes. I don't know. They were cheaper somehow.
and then we finally
You
did
know what,
some eyeliner.
Jimmy? In the
and-
80s, that's the guys.
Yeah, it was.
You couldn't go and buy guys'
Well, I
clothes.
was
that
told,
worked.
someone at Maranatha told me when we first released our Incandescent, he even said he believed that an artist, you shouldn't be able to go and buy off the rack what you see your favorite artist wearing. So that would be us, because we
Yeah.
can't even buy it off the rack. not the same rack.
Yeah.
So
We made some of ours too.
Yeah.
Sonia and I put together some jacket. Yeah, we did. It was the 80s. You could do a
it
lot
was
of that.
fun. Yeah, no one questioned it.
You
like,
could add
oh
stuff.
yeah, those two things.
Padded shoulders
together.
too, right?
Oh yeah, big ones.
That's why we all look great.
Well, that first album as well, Don and I had literally just come from growing up in other countries, so
No idea of
We had no
American
idea.
culture. No,
Yeah,
not really.
That was kind of
Culturally.
a shock, I suppose. And then the first time, I remember, because I knew I was going to be working with Joe Taylor, but I hadn't yet. And you guys didn't even know who Undercover was. You just knew Petra and Sweet Comfort Band and Andre Crouch and
Yep.
those types of groups.
Right.
So when I told you about Undercover, you had no idea. And I remember you went to see them at Magic Mountain
Me.
when you came back. Yes, you
did,
and
did
Wes, and you were probably with them too. I just remember you were shocked and also just really intrigued. Like, I had no idea that this was happening in Christian music.
right.
Yeah.
And then
we
when you
had
saw that, you were
listened-
like, "Oh yeah, we're
Yeah.
on board.
We had
These guys
listened-
are who we're going to be hanging out
Yeah,
with."
we had
And-
listened to secular music, believe it or not, even with our parents being missionaries. Like I said, they were a little bit on the rebellious side, so they didn't care if we listened to the secular music. I mean, there were a few albums they took away, I think, but they encouraged us to go get secular music because I think our parents knew early on we were going to be doing something with music because they still were, you know. Tame
Live.
the Volcano was a crazy song in studio. We
It
have
was.
video of it. It's It was nuts. I was natives in the jungle, the ones who sing high.
Like in all the Bob Hope
Of my
movies.
ranges, yes.
Those natives.
Remember?
The actual
Yeah.
song, Tame the Volcano?
That was a crazy song, but it was so
Did you
much
do a
fun.
video to this?
No, we didn't.
We just have video from the studio.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
someday we should
Recording the different parts.
post up there because
But that's fun. That was another one of those where I
Did
had
you
to
have
kind of
those
explain
outfits
where I
on
was
for the video, or?
no, but our album release party,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
going.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We all dressed
We did.
up.
We said, come in your best jungle attire
Yeah.
or something. And
It
it was fun. And everyone did. We couldn't believe. Everyone actually came dressed with grass skirts and...
See the
Coconuts?
influence?
Yeah, it was insane. Like, people are really doing this. We just thought it would be just a few of us. We invited everyone from the record label to come, and people did. That was a lot of fun.
was
We had a
fun.
lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's hear
Tame the
it.
Volcano. Oh!
Just heard through the grapevine, so the pigeon sings. No, 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 it can't be true. Oh yeah. It seems another angel deserves to lose his wings. My, what shall we do? There's a cry from the hungry crowd. Who's the sacrificial virgin now? The earth has shaken, the sky is falling. I can hear the natives calling. Tame the volcano, tame the volcano, tame the volcano. Listen to the natives calling. Tame the volcano, tame the volcano.
Meanwhile, back at the camp.
Dancing round the fire, weave your sordid tale. Never underestimate its power. The lion in the jungle is prowling through the veil, seeking out souls whom he may devour. There's a cry from the frightened crowd. We're in heap big trouble now. The earth has shaken, the sky is falling. I can hear the natives calling. Tame the volcano, tame the volcano, tame the volcano. Listen to the natives calling. Tame the volcano, tame the volcano.
And they were something like this.
The earth has shaken, the sky is falling. I can hear the natives calling. Tame the volcano, tame the volcano, tame the volcano. Listen to the natives calling. Tame the volcano, the volcano, tame the volcano, the volcano, tame the volcano, the volcano. Listen to the natives calling. Tame the volcano, the volcano, tame the volcano, the volcano, tame the volcano, the volcano. Listen to the natives calling. Tame the volcano.
Les, the other day I was viewing the Frontline YouTube channel. Did you know you're in almost every Rewind promo video?
I want to be.
Well, you are.
Awesome.
There's also original music videos of Bloodgood, your band, and other Frontline artists from the 80s and 90s.
Wow. Well, how do I view those?
Well, you go to youtube.com/FRNTLNRCRDS. So it's Frontline Records without the vowels.
Without the vowels.
Yeah.
What? We can't afford the vowels?
Well, I don't know, or you can just search Frontline Records channel in YouTube.
I'm going to do that.
Okay.
So that was Tame the Volcano. And is it tame? Is it tame now,
I don't think it
folks?
ever
You
is.
just heard it. Crumbacher.
I always say that Incandescent was my favorite album just because it was our first, and just the memories of it. I think that might be a reason, but I really like Escape from the Fallen Planet because it was a concept album and the story that ran through it, and which, as we're talking about albums going away, that this one is one that actually, Steve laid out in great form.
Another thing we didn't know is you're never supposed to do a concept album
The second one.
for your second album.
Yeah. But if you look at this list, we did have some songs that did well.
Yeah.
Crash Landed was on the charts.
Yeah.
Name Droppers was on. Was that on a
I
rock?
don't remember.
Was Tourist Trap on the rock chart?
It might have.
I think it was. I've looked at those
Interstellar
charts.
Satellite was on the
Interstellar
pop chart.
Satellite
Crash
was
Landed was on what album?
on Escape from the Fallen Planet.
Oh.
So this album was just a very interesting album, and but what I wanted to talk about was Graduating Class because that was about so many things we're all dealing with now.
Because we've lived a little bit more.
We've lived longer and we've lost people. And Graduating Class, can I say, was his Steve's sister passed away during the writing of this. Or was it even before?
It was right after Incandescent came
Right
out. So
after.
it was while I was still writing this.
Yeah,
song.
cancer, and I just remember being so young
Yeah.
and not having a concept of what that would be like. And I think about it now, and all the people that I know that have passed this way or are dealing with these struggles, it's like, wow, we're in such a different world. So just lately, Graduating Class has been a very special song to me when I've thought about listening to it or doing that. And it's talking about graduating from here to heaven, and it's at the end of the album, and it's the end of the story of this whole album. But I just feel like for us, in what we're living through now as humans and believers, that we have a place that we know we're going to see our loved ones. And I can't imagine people who don't have that hope in their life. I really can't. So
It's such a party song, though. I
Graduate-
like
yes.
the way
That's
he
the
wrote it.
paradox of it, huh?
Graduating Class is so up and happy, and it so many people used it at their
They
graduations.
did. People use their graduation
and
songs.
they did,
Okay.
but it was
That's fine.
and I guess so. That's what I was talking about earlier about Steve's songs, is that if you really dig into the lyrics, you hear all that stuff. And there's a lot of other artists who have done this over the years, where the lyrics are so deep and even hurtful a little bit, but yet the music is happy, and it lifts you, as you're listening to those. So that is, Graduating
Well, I
Class
always
was one
heard
of mine.
the most successful songs were happy melodies with sad lyrics.
Yeah.
Someone told me, I believe Dave Jansen told me that.
Did he?
And it's kind of true.
Beatles had a lot
Really?
of those.
Well,
Yeah.
can we hear that,
Beach
guys?
Boys,
Let's hear it. Graduating
Graduating
Class.
Class, all right.
Here it is,
Yeah.
off Escape from the Fallen Planet.
So that was Graduating Class, and the album is a concept album. I mean, you spoke right. I mean, this is what you're saying
was.
about this album.
I
So I think everybody should get together, put this album on, and have a party, and listen from the beginning to the
From
end,
beginning to
and
end.
enjoy
This
piece
begin
of
to
work.
end.
It's amazing.
And of the things I've recorded, I don't listen to what I've worked on ever. But every once in a while, if I'm feeling nostalgic, I will listen to this one from beginning to end, just because it puts me in that. It's a story, and I had this grand idea that one day I would record the first contemporary Christian science fiction album, and it would be based on Pilgrim's Progress. It didn't turn out that way. It kind of sort of started, and then it took its own turns just based on my own life and just observations. But it's just a story of traveling through this life. That's why it starts off with Solo Flight, which is an instrumental, and then Crash Landed, when you realize your mortality and now you've got to survive on this planet. And then just the different scenarios that you find yourself in, and all of the songs deal with those different scenarios. And then Graduating Class, about losing people who are close to you, is towards the end of the album. It's not really a deep concept, not as deep as I wanted it to be, but it turned out to still be the general idea of what I wanted to do
Yeah.
with that.
So I would suggest that we all get it together and listen. Crumbacher fans and new fans as well.
See, we never made the. I think we didn't make the conscious decision to stop working together as a band. That was never like, this is the last album, or I'm leaving after this commitment. It was just kind of like, we'll play together as long as we can. But by the time we got to this, you can kind of start to see how things are going. People were getting married, having kids. And I could see it wasn't going to be the same band that it was when we were 20 years old. And so I wanted to write a song about it, not really thinking this is going to be our last album. It was our last album as Crumbacher. But not really thinking that. But I thought, well, just in case, I want a song that is for the group, that I can say I wrote for the band. And so that's where that song is from. And we did two versions of it. We did an up-tempo, more of a rock version of it. But then I did just an acoustic, just piano at the end. So I did a reprise of it with just me at the piano at the end. And I don't know, it's still very special to me, because to me that's like the personal story. It's kind of like, I feel like we're in a tiny little room and it's just the band members and me listening to it, you know.
That was a gift. That song was a gift, at least
To
for
us.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I think it made it easier when you had
I
to.
think so, because you gave us something.
It
Yes.
wasn't a break. Like I said, it wasn't like I'm leaving. It was like I need some time off.
Yeah, and
I
you
think
talked-
it's where it.
You talked
you know.
about the road and your feelings and how great it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was necessary, I think, because things were getting weird with, Don's not going to bring Janae on the bus. I knew I couldn't.
Well, it was kind of like, how are we going to do
I didn't
this?
want to. That wasn't going to be a place for her. So my sister was filling in, and then we did some shows here, and she sang, and Jim was getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
right after Janae was born, you got
we
married.
knew things were going to
So
change.
you felt that thing that bands feel. And so, yeah, that was it. You accomplished what you set out to
good.
do.
Good.
Because that was that, I think still to this day, that's our song that he wrote for us.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
listen to it very often because it's
Too
it's kind of
emotional.
a meaningful song.
Well,
Well, you cried when I
like-
played it in the studio the
Oh,
first
my
time. I'm like, I didn't mean to do that to you, but
Me?
yeah, I remember you cried. I'm like, well, okay, I guess you heard it then. Like I didn't really mean to make this a sad song.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've got to hear it now. So will you please introduce it?
Yes, sure. Because for me, it's a very personal song. And like I said, when I did the piano version, it was just me and the piano, and a cricket hiding in the corner that you can kind of hear at the end. It feels really hard. And I think we recorded it about 2 a.m. in the morning. And it's one of those songs that is real special to me because of what it's about. And this version of it is, we had 2 versions, Once More with Feeling and Once More for the Band. And this is Once More for the Band.
Stumble through the stages of the song, fumble with the phrases I've been counting on for so long to goodbye, feeling they apply to everyone but me. Jesus, I have stared so hard into the light. My vision isn't what it used to be. But with every ounce of strength, I'm saving the best until the end. Once more with feeling, and once more by your hand. Like a tune that's never fading, play through me again. Once more with feeling, and once more for the band. Painted from the praises, I suppose, framing every face I ever dared to show. It all goes by so fast, and here I am at last, waking from these dreams. Jesus, I have listened to the crowd so long, it's hard to hear your voice above the screams. But with every ounce of strength, I'm saving the best until the end. Once more with feeling, and once more by your hand. And like a tune that's never fading, play through me again. Once more with feeling, and once more for the band. And like a tune that's never fading, play through me again. Once more with feeling, and once more for the band. Lord, once more with feeling, and once more for the band.
I heard you guys singing live here and everything in this. It was amazing. I saw your hearts and your faces light up when you were singing together again. It's been a great time. Thank you very much. This is the end of the Crumbacher Show, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Crumbacher, did you love it?
We did.
We
Thank
enjoyed
you
it.
so
Your
much.
fans?
Go
Thank you,
listen.
Frontline.
Do you love your...
We love our fans. We do. Thank you
love
so
them?
much.
Oh, tell them how much you love them.
Thank you so much
love
for
you.
We
listening.
love you
We do
guys.
love you guys.
We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Frontline Records Rewind.
Frontline Records Rewind.
Frontline Records Rewind.